Welcome to Voice of Niger TV Daily Newspaper Review, where you get the insight of both local, national, and international newspaper front pages.
I welcome you to another edition of Voice of Niger TV Newspaper Review. I am Fatima Abdullahi Muhammad, and I'm here with different newspapers, both international and Nigerian newspapers. Today is 21st of April 2022, and I'll be giving you just the headlines from those newspapers. If any of the headlines fascinate you, go to the nearest newspaper vendor, get a copy of the newspaper, and read the full story.
Alright, let's begin with this day, and I'll be giving you the following headlines. Buhari to APC leaders: avoid dictatorial behavior, imposition of unpopular candidates. At close of nomination, 70 PDP presidential aspirants beat deadline. Presidency: why diarrhea in Niamey were pardoned. You can get that from page 38. And above the nameplate of this day newspaper, rethink your policy on fuel subsidy. World Bank tells Nigeria. It has about 2 riders. Insists the rich benefit more from fuel subsidy than the poor. Says barriers distorting country's trade flows. And lastly, oil theft. Ex-NNPC General Manager says federal government could have saved $20 billion by deploying technology to tackle maintenance. You can get that from page 5, and that's all I'll be giving you from this day newspaper. Alright, let's move on to Daily Trust newspaper, and I have the following headlines. APC under fire for pegging presidential forms at 100 million naira. It has about 4 riders. Governorship forms go for 15 million. Its recipe for fraud, that's coming from Dawn and others. Its plot to disenfranchise all, that's coming from aspirants. Next power ceded to the NWC for 90 days. You can get that from page 5. NAF: airstrikes kills 6 children, destroys houses in Niger. Nigerian subsidies have significant negatives. You can get that from page 19. 2023 election: brace up for challenges, CJN tells judges. You can get that from page 3. Gunmen attack Anambra police station, burn vehicles. You can get that from page 6. PDP racks in 646 million naira from 17 presidential aspirants and from sale. And lastly, farmers: merchants disappointed as price rises of grains continue to drop in Taraba. You can get that from page 3 of Daily Trust newspaper. From the Vanguard newspaper, I'll be giving you the following headlines. Protest in the Edo: gunmen on rampage in Anambra, Akwa Ibom. It has about 3 riders. Church founder Okoriko kidnapped in Akwa Ibom. Communities: CSOs protest herdsmen attack in Edo. Barricade Benin Lagos Expressway. Another police station attacked in Anambra. You can get that from page 10 of Vanguard newspaper. 2023, I need only 4 years to fix Nigeria. That's coming from Peter Obi. You can get that from page 9. No going back on demolition of 200 houses blocking Onitsha drains. No going back on demolition of 200 houses blocking Onitsha drains. That's coming from Solodo, and you can get that from page 11. And the residents flee as soldiers occupy Imo communities. You can get that from page 9. And above the nameplate of Vanguard, net foreign exchange inflow falls 27.5% to $52.46 billion. You can get that from page 19. Interim government: lawyers divided over Babalola's proposition. You can get that from page 12. And lastly, PDP presidential ticket: consensus option fading as aspirant head for primaries. You can get that from page 26, and that's all I'll be giving you from the Vanguard newspaper. Alright, let's move on to New Telegraph newspaper, and I'll be giving you the following headlines. Buhari absolves Boko Haram of religious ethnic agenda during meeting with ICC prosecutor, and promises tougher security measures in restrictive areas. It has a rider, what Boko Haram ISWAP do is perversion of religion. That's coming from Khan, and you can get the full story from page 216. Plane crash, military launches probe. NAF unveils dead pilots' identities. You can get that from page 2. 13 Nigerians detained in Poland released. You can get that from page 2 of New Telegraph newspaper. APC presidential Guba nomination forms. Aspirants to shell out 100 million and 50 million each. As party slate primaries for May 30 and 31st, it has about 3 riders. President once against candidate in position. You have no business fielding candidates. That's coming from opposition. APC PDP form fees height of political insensitivity, invitation to thievery. That's coming from Afenifere, and you can get the full stories from page 3 and 6. Hope has studied detect bacteria linked to prostate cancer. You can get that from page 8 and above the nameplate of New Telegraph. Study poor access to financial services fueling crypto in Nigeria. You can get that from page 25. And lastly, FX repatriation. Federal government plans grant restriction to creative exporters. Laments 300% Naira devaluation. Alright, that's all I'll be giving you from the New Telegraph newspaper. Let's move on to Jazeera Nigeria, and I'll be giving you the following headlines. Kidnapped lecturer. 2 others die after release of suspected food poison. You can get that from page 12. 2023 presidency. APC pegs form at 100 million naira. It has about 4 riders. 50 million naira for governorship. Sale of forms commences Saturday. Don't impose unpopular candidates. That's coming from Buhari. Neck hands over power to NWC for 90 days. You can get the full story from page 4. PMS prices up 8.73% in March 2022, says MBS. You can get that from page 26. Many killed, houses burned as Ilaje indigents clash in Akwa Ibom. You can get the full story from page 13. Customers borrowing from 10 banks hit 2.9 trillion naira in 12 months. The full story can be gotten from page 27. Unity schools, NECO reschedules entrance examination. You can get that from page 22. That's all I'll be giving you from Jazeera Nigeria. Let's move over to leadership, and I'll be giving you the following headlines. 40 days to presidential primary. APC moves to avert clash of interest. Party NEC concedes power to NWC. You can get that from page 4. World Bank asks federal government to reconsider 4 trillion naira fuel subsidy. You can get that from page 19. 43,008 Nigeria pilgrims to perform 2022 Hajj. You can get that from page 10. Train attack. Air 5 gives 9 victims' families 18 million naira. You can get that from page 14. And above the nameplate of leadership, troops kill 25 terrorists, rescue 6 captives in Lake Chad. You can get that from page 8. Leadership award inspire us to do more. Governor Yahya and Ned Nwoko. That's all I'll be giving you from the leadership newspaper. Alright, let's move on to Daily Independent newspaper, and I'll be giving you the following headlines. Primary election. Outrage trails APC 100 million naira. 50 million naira presidential Guba forms. It has about 4 riders. Participation in election now business to earn profits. That's coming from lawyers. say political parties have transformed to revenue collectors. Huriwa condemns APC, urges arrest, probe of farm buyers. Commercial exercise with dampened hopes of the nation. That's coming from Sislak, and you can get the full story from page 29 of Daily Independent. 2023 presidential election. PDP in dilemma over consensus as 17 jostle for party's tickets. COVID-19, Buhari gives minister deadline to submit vaccine production report. You can get the full story from page 7. NAF chief vows to probe crashed aircraft in Kaduna, raises panel. You can get the full story from page 6. Assistant police commissioner slums dies in Bayelsa. You can get the full story from page 7 and above the nameplate of Daily Independent. We are at risk of losing 2023 election. That's coming from APC chairman. It has 2 riders. Laments supremacy battle between governors and predecessors. Party adopt indirect primaries. Next seats power to NWC. Lastly, I'll deploy tougher measures in tackling security. That's coming from Buhari. That's all I'll be giving you from Daily Independent newspaper. Let's move over to national economy, and I'll be giving you the following headlines. Forex scarcity, input short supply, further slow Nigeria's productive sectors. You can get the full story from page 4. Crypto assets used in Nigeria, orders to bypass capital restriction. That's coming from IMF. The full story from page 5. Chinese firm expedites action on $3 billion Port Harcourt to make Duguri rail project. You can get that from page 5. 900 Nigeria graduates set for Dangote refinery oil gas training. You can get that from page 4. Travelers through Nigerian airports increased to 13 million in 2021. That's coming from MBS. That's from page 5. And above the nameplate of national economy, World Bank asks federal government to reconsider 4 trillion naira subsidy. The full story can be gotten from page 5, and that's all I'll be giving you from National Economy newspaper. Lastly, from the Nigerian newspapers, I'll be giving you The Nation, and I have the following headlines. Buhari cautions APC against imposition of candidates. Power sector fails to meet 4,500 megawatt targets. And above the nameplate of The Nation, how decision on diarrhea in Niamey was taken by presidency. You can get that from page 3. CJN warns judges against illegal wealth flamboyance. You can get that from page 28, and that's all I'll be giving you from The Nation newspaper. Let's move over to Nigerian News Direct, and I have the following headlines. APC 2023 presidential tickets. Aspirant to pay 100 million naira for nomination, EOI forms. You can get that for page 4. It has about 4 riders. Rules out consensus. Buhari wants against the position of candidate. NEC delegates powers to NWC to act for 90 days. Adamu blames party crisis on supremacy battle amongst former 7 governors. Diarrhea in Niamey, pardon in line with constitution, will not derail anti-corruption war. That's coming from Buhari. You can get that from page 2. FinTech, Nigeria ahead of South Africa in venture capital as African startups get $5.2 billion in 2021. You can get that from page 14. Bomb blast, Taraba Assembly Speaker urges security agencies to fish out corporates. You can get that from page 12. OAU female student accuses lecturer of sexual assault. You can get that from page 23. And above the nameplate of Nigerian News Direct, BOI announces 184.6 billion naira gross earnings in 2021. NAF to investigate cause of trainer aircraft crash in Kaduna. And lastly, NITDA to commemorate World Creativity and Innovation Day. You can get that from page 2, and that's all I'll be giving you from Nigerian News Direct newspaper. The international newspaper with me right now is The Independent, and I'll be giving you the following headlines. French election hopefuls go at tete. Afghans who helped UK still stranded and danger. Immigration U-turn. Prime Minister hints at Indian visas to clinch trade deal. That's all I'll be giving you from The Independent newspaper. From the New York Times, I have the following headlines. A rush to keep Ukraine armed. Gauging what the headscarf means for France. War, COVID and inflation taking a toll on economy. Why we admire Zelensky. That's all I'll be giving you from the New York Times newspaper. And lastly, from the international newspaper, I have the Brandon Sun, and I'll be giving you the following headlines. Pieces of unpopular education plan deserted. Jobs program receives $4 million funding boost to support economy. And lastly, Onanole welcomes first Ukrainians. That's all I'll be giving you from both the Nigerian newspapers and the international newspapers. If any of the headline fascinates you, kindly go to the nearest newspaper vendor, get a copy of the dailies, and get through to the details.
We've come to the end of Voice of Niger TV newspaper review. Do join me tomorrow for another interesting edition of newspaper review. Until then, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us on our social media handle. I am Fatima Abdullahi Muhammad. Bye for now.